Yo, what's up? Hope you don't mind, but I just kind of started early. I waited patiently for this 5 o'clock to start this live thing, but yeah, I've already done the seasonal stats. Can't help myself, you know. I'm trying to open the weekly stuff now. Yeah, let's add this. See what I'm up to, you know. Hey, fun fact. Pardon me. Patrick Holmes averages more yards per attempt than yards per attempt. What does that mean? Lots of yards after the catch and behind the line of scrimmage passes, I guess. Doesn't quite add up, does it? But it's true. Okay, one viewer. Hey, how you doing? Just in case you're new, this is a Monday grind every week. Hey, Connor, how you doing? I end up grinding the stats from the previous week to stuff it into models and the public databases I put out there for everyone to see. And I've just started live streaming it. So that's what this is. If you've got a question, comment, want to ask a question about Excel, I'm here, man. Ask away. Or the week or a start-sit decision, I guess. In the meantime, I'm just collecting data, so... Is it week 6? Don't even know. I've actually been pretty absent. No one's really noticed, but I've been a little absent from social media, start-sit decisions and stuff. I've been trying to create another model for projections, and I kind of got lost in it a little bit. I've already got the seasonal stuff done, by the way. But before the end of the stream, I end up uploading it and sharing the link, stuff like that. What's up with you, Connor? Anything new? Yeah, it must be week 6. Week 6 just happened, right? Well, we got week 6 stats, so that's a good sign. We need receiving stats. So. So yeah, I've been trying to create a prediction model purely based around Vegas lines. Ooh, tell me more about the model. I don't know if it's any good or if it'll work, but I was planning to pull it up here if I get this done quick enough. I haven't figured out how to do it all yet, but I'm experimenting. Turn this music down here so I don't feel like I'm shouting. Where was I? Yeah. So essentially, I take the Vegas lines for the week, and that gives you essentially, you can do a lot of things with them, but it will give you points total, team points total for either side. And from that, you can figure out the number of touchdowns they're projecting. From there, you can figure out the number of rushing and passing touchdowns teams on average score, right? So say Carolina, they're projected for 4 touchdowns. About 0.8 of those touchdowns are going to be passing. New England, because of Cam Newton. And 3.2 of them are going to be rushing touchdowns. Now, because of yards per touchdown being fairly consistent and prone to regression, my thought was, couldn't we turn that Vegas line into stat projections for quarterbacks? So you take the average number of touchdowns they think the team's going to score, and you turn that into a yards projection. And then you turn that yards projection into a passing yards projection, into a passing attempts projection, and then backtrack the team from there. So if you're Juju Smith-Schuster with a 21% target share and a 6 ADOT, and you know the attempts and you know the yards, you can use that to figure out what Juju on average does. So essentially, Vegas predicts touchdowns, and from touchdowns you get passing yards, and from passing yards you create the team projections. So essentially, instead of my current model, which is a lot more manual, and it's players on the team project what the quarterback's going to do. Instead, you would reverse it, and it would be purely based on the Vegas line. So right or wrong, you're seeing the projection for the team based on what Vegas thinks going to happen. And then, 50-50 bet how accurate they are, or if the game script goes on average, right? But I don't know. It seemed like an interesting idea. But I haven't got it all figured out yet. Where was I? Anyway, that's what I've been working on. There's just a lot of little things you got to kind of figure out for that. Like, how do you get targets from passing yards? I'm on crappy stats, so I'm trying to. But essentially, if I data you want to rely on for the other positions, and backtracking it all has been kind of rough. But it'll take a while, I shouldn't really be doing it in season, hence why I gave up all social media this week, basically, in order to try and work on it. But I'm probably not going to have time in season. But I had a free moment, so I was working on it. See, target share is not really good enough for that. I'd want to project air yards and then project market share of air yards. You could even just use Whopper and that would get me around ADOT, but I don't know. It's got a lot of problems because you're just using in-season data. It's rough for projecting seasonal shit anyway, or week-to-week shit. So what I'm doing right now is just collecting the stats from week 6 and stuffing it into this sheet that I've already built, which separates it all out so I can see players on a week-to-week basis, and then stuff that into my public sheet so that you can see it. It takes a little effort. Yeah, you see, I know Michael Zingoni, the Zinger. He uses Vegas to create projections, but he does it based on average pass attempts for that many touchdowns. So he's got a large history of Vegas lines for teams and players, and he uses that. But I don't have that, and it's a bitch to grit. So I was thinking, what if I just use the week-to-week stuff? And yards per touchdown creates the first stat, and from that stat, you build everything back out from it. I think that'd be interesting. It's thrown up a few interesting, well, that's not going to work. Like, if you've got a bad quarterback, Daniel Jones, right? He has to throw about 500 passing yards to get a single touchdown so far in 2020. But if Vegas is projecting him for 1.2 touchdowns, which is a very low projection, because Vegas knows it's probably not going to be a great game, but because his stat is like 536 passing yards per touchdown because he's doing so badly, if you say he's going to throw for 1.2 touchdowns, it creates this like 580 yards passing. So that doesn't work. So I actually created individual models to regress their yards per touchdown stat to try and reduce it, but that didn't quite reduce it enough for poor old Daniel Jones. So, yeah. But if I take it slow, I think I can make it work. Just don't rush ahead and create errors in the data. Just slowly figure out how I can put it all together. And I think it's interesting because that's one you can just give to people. And if they want to change it, the only thing there is to change is Vegas projections, right? And then you're bolted to them. If that's a reasonable expectation, this is what reasonably should happen. Now, the problem with that is you got a lot of players coming in and off the depth chart, or Joe Flacco playing for the first time in forever. And that doesn't have a lot of 2020 data to back it up. So you have to go default to an average or default to a career average, maybe. Which you'll, I don't know how I handle those yet. Like, you know, Van Jefferson's going to play for the first time this week. What stats do you use to try and create his role? Which is why I think I'll project quarterbacks and then use that to backfill the team rather than using the yards per regression stat to create all the players. Just use it to create the quarterbacks and then backfill the team, if you know what I mean. I don't know. That's an idea. I think that's a good idea. I know. Oh, what did I just do? Shit. Shouldn't get to talking. Look. Need it there. Thank you. Oh, I forgot which sheet I was in there for a second. Opportunity next up. Yeah, I got a week-to-week one. It's in my public sheet. I can only do 2020 because the minute I start going further, and I keep trying to find new ways of creating like a large week-to-week basis, but it's just too big for Excel, man. But yeah, I got a week-to-week one. Spaceman already has his up, probably. So yeah, it's right next to my seasonal database in the same link. Where am I? Opportunity. All right. I have to collect it separately. Running the seasonal calculations on week-to-week stats has got some issues, and I kept disagreeing with Rotoviz, so I'll cut out me as a middleman, and I'll just collect what they say, and then it's all their fault. Fantasy, week to week. Let's go. All right, I had something stuck in my teeth all day, and I can't figure out what it is or how to get rid of it. It won't come out, you know? Didn't even know that, but didn't want you to think I just randomly stick my fingers in my mouth, you know? Now, what do I have to... I forget. D3, right? Yeah. Yeah. Hey, John! Is that Johnbosch? The Johnbosch? Nice to see you, bud. Welcome to the grind, man. This is a very boring nerd grind. Yeah, thanks, Connor. I'll just create a model. No, it's true, but you start to see how everything requires 7 extra steps. You get like creating a model, you should sit down and take a good month to work on it. And it's not something I can just spit out for this, you know? I already have expectations for rookies, but you don't want me to use them, man. The fallacy of the average is a lot worse than everyone thinks when you start looking at it. And I think treating rookies and, asshole number 4 on the depth chart coming on, I think that's fair, sort of average. Or I could do team projections. Joe Flacco starts and you just use a team projection because that's a system they're going to be trying to run with them, Because I'm not even worried about the skill position players yet. It's Oh, I didn't get the week. Okay. That's a problem. I'm really thinking I'm going to focus on trying to backfill a quarterback projection from Vegas lines and there work on the skill position players. Originally, my idea was just do model them all on regression modeling on yards per touchdown, all 3 types of touchdowns, obviously, and do it for all positions independently. But I really think it might be more interesting, less problematic in a few ways, the quarterback projection that way, and then backfill the team from what the quarterback says. And I also like it's kind of the reverse of the way that my model's doing it right now, which is the quarterback is a product of the team members that I've got in there. No, that way I've kind of got it from both directions. But what do I know, man? Maybe that's the best way of doing it. I thought it was interesting, and I kept thinking about it driving back and forth to work. I was like, and then you could do a regression model on yards per team pass attempt. And from there, I could use, and eventually you just got to start trying stuff. You can't just keep hypotheticals running in your head too long. Eventually you just have to try it, or I do. Did I update all of these? I'm doing so much talking. Yeah, I did. This is actually the tab I was trying to create. Look, I'm looking up their what is this? The rate at which they're scoring touchdowns, essentially. Yeah, 15 yards pass attempt. I had to use weekly data for some of it, which is a little more awkward. Move this back here so I don't forget. That's wrong. Yeah, we just had week 6, right? Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. So this should all be up to date. There we go. That's why I got some lag there. My processor was working on copying that sheet. All 3 of them. Or 2 of them, sorry. Yeah, check this out, because I didn't believe it when I first looked at what it was projecting. That's how I found that. I don't know. Air yards per attempt. Patrick Mahomes' average is 7.32 air yards per attempt. Yards per attempt are higher. He's one of the few quarterbacks this year that can say that. It's actually not that common to be this consistent week over week. He's getting 7.6 yards per attempt. That's a lot of, I don't know. I mean, you tell me, you watch. Why is he getting more yards per attempt than air yards per attempt? That essentially means he's getting more receiving yards and he's passing in the air. It's behind the line of scrimmage passes, right? Or inefficiency, or whatever, from his players. No, because that would create more air yards. But anyway, yeah. You guys don't need this. That was for this new model I was looking at. All right. Weekly database done. That's all I take from here. Now I need my what do we need? Good question. There it is. Need to go. I need my stats against defenses for projections because my current model uses all that shit. Instead, the Vegas model will literally be just letting Vegas do that work for me and then using their projections based on all of that to create player projections. I like the idea of ripping Vegas off. I don't know why. Not ripping them off, but literally taking their work and just backfilling it. We're back down to one viewer. Assume that's a good sign. Give me it. Meh. So when I download targets, I actually have to rearrange it all based on the way I got the sheet built. Honestly, it's easier to do this and rebuild the sheet. TSA. I just put the targets in there and then it figures out the percentages for me, which is a nice little fix. I literally go to 4 for 4 because I got a better format to do the sheet with. All right, fantasy points. Let's go. Don't break on me. Barely pushing you at all, processor. Don't give up. It gets worse. Oh. 2 guns per 4, 3, right? Quick fact check on that. Where's Spaceman? That's what I need to know. Okay. That's where we need that thing for. Racer AR. Oh, crap. Monday night games, man. They really screwed me up. Right. I gotta get rid of his against stance. Alright, if we're back to rid of his. Oh. Who's here? Is it still you, Connor? You sticking with me? Appreciate it. No one wants to watch the grind, man. It's too boring. I actually had to create a database, a week-to-week database of yards and touchdowns. I could only do 3 years or it would have collapsed on me. Just to create those models for the regression. It was fun, but time consuming. So now I'm creating, let's see, what am I doing? I'm going to go get these efficiency stats, essentially, per team, per position, because Rotovez lets you do that. And then you can map it against the schedule and see which was happening against which defense. And from there, you can reverse engineer team against stats. So, but I got to download it in the exact right order so my sheet knows what everything is. Okay, I'm going to do quarterbacks first. And we just won week 6. Yep, 2020. By team. So now we know what all these stats are for the quarterbacks for each team. And then my sheet will reverse engineer that against the schedule. Fun stuff. But I also have to make sure that I add in some extra columns. So I also need an ID week, position, season week. So the ID week is going to be what, 20? How many weeks I got in here at this point? Yeah, 20. Position right now is quarterback. Season week is going to be 6. Hang on. How many stats I got here? 6. 7. I'm missing one. Fuck. What did I miss? Yards per carry, TD rate, catch rate. I missed interception rate. Okay. Then receiving yards, rushing yards. Don't even use those anymore, but there you go. Now, what else did I need in here? Anyone remember? ID week. Position. Opponent. Season. ID week, I said, was 20. Don't know the opponent yet. No. 6. All right. 13. 13. Perfect. All right. So now I need to collect that for all the other positions, which will be fun. Wide receivers, please. 2 viewers. Who's here? Did you miss anything? No, I don't think so, man. I'm still just downloading data. Talking about a potential model, you know? Not a lot happens on the grind. I'm just downloading team stats for positions, which I can backfill to create team against stats for defenses on wide receivers. Da, 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 da. Hey, C-Plant, by the way. Didn't even know you were here. Is that rude? Oh, data. Who'd deal with it? Really? Yeah, that looks right. Now it looks at the opponents for me. Now we just have to tell the sheet that we've got a new week. Kind of involved. Hey. Hey. 24 teams played last week? Sounds about right. 24 so far. Right? Yeah, that sounds right. Check I took the right IDs. No, I didn't. Sorry, I mean to be quiet, but I forget how this works. I have to pay attention. Essentially, I got to tell it what teams played this week, and then it should be able to figure it out for me. But I also have to update which columns to look everything in. It's as automatic as I can make it, all right? All right. So, targets. $21 targets to wide receivers, Minnesota this week. Look at that. P. And then I got to do the same for PPR points. Oh, God. Poor Alexander Madison, huh? All right. The rest is working automatically. Neat. Right. Oh, well, I fucked that up for the other one. It's going to be week 7 next week, obviously. Mm-hmm. All right. Copy this team again thing to the one I'm going to upload for you. All. Turn it all into values instead of, whatever that is. 8. Updated on the 19th. I don't upload anything else from here, right? Oh, okay, cool. All right. Now, unfortunately, I had the schedule set up for week 6, and it's going to be week 7. That's okay, because they've played 6 games. That's why this one's in here. Okay. Yeah, I'm good. I think that's okay. Yeah. All right. I think we got it. I'll pull up that new model in a second. I'm just going to upload it for you guys. Just saying. Questions, problems, areas to study? What you got? Wow, internet just slowed down to nothing. Come on, man. It's fucking Google Sheets. It doesn't take a military grade processor to. Meh. Yes. Yes. This is my life, man. Collecting it's one thing. Uploading it for you guys, apparently that's the chore. All right. This will take forever, I'm sure. All right, it's uploading. Who's left? Should I do this earlier in the day? Seemed like we were getting more questions earlier in the day. Everyone getting ready to watch the game and this is too late? It's a possibility. I was leaving it late thinking everyone would be at work. All right. All right, so there's all the 2020 stats for the season. Team positional target share, team stats, just in general. What they're doing as a team by position, every aspect of the game. Is that all of them? Where's the weekly? Oh, yeah, there's weekly stuff. Neat. And there's the team against stats. Honestly, I don't know what more stats anyone could want, but you know. Whatever. It's all something, right? Oh, I hate organizing these damn tabs. Okay, it's ready. Posting the link in the chat. Post it on Patreon as well, shall we? Oh, if we can do this, I'll just open up that other model and we'll have a chat. I saw all the work I did, but opening Patreon, yeah, that's the thing that takes all the internet power in the world. Great. Really? What kind of code they got on this website, man? Give me strength, man. I feel like I'm using a computer from the 1980s here. Come on, man. Public. Yeah. Man of the people, right? I spelled everything wrong? Okay. Oh, come on. How's this the thing that's putting such a burden on the internet? I mean, welcome to the country. Let me share a post. I just want to share my post. Twitter. Come on now. Oh. Click. Just click. Okay. Close this. All right. Where's that thing? The thing or the place? Don't need any of those anymore. Thank you. Nope, 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 nope. Oh yeah, it's creating a new budget. That's why I've got my bank account information in here, which probably shouldn't be live on stream, but there you go. Quitters quit. Something like that. Where is it? I swear I saved it in here. Okay. It's just called new model or something like that. No, it's not what I want to see. New weekly projection model. Where are you? Did I delete it by mistake? It's possible. Yeah, there it is. Okay. Well, that could have been nasty. All right, for my one remaining viewer. Hey, bud. Picture model. Fun stuff. All right, so what's happening in here? Oh, that's not that anymore. So essentially, I took the Vegas lines, right? It's projecting a 45 total. I think I just randomly inserted that. And with this spread, which creates this team projection, right? So you take that team projection and you calculate how many touchdowns that means. So a 24 total, about 3 touchdowns. So that's how many touchdowns Vegas thinks that team's going to get this week. Now, where is it? Touchdown, team touchdowns. Right. So you take that touchdown total and say, well, this team on average this season, a certain percentage of its touchdowns come from the passing game, a certain percentage comes from the rushing game. So you multiply that by the touchdown projection, and you get 2.9 passing touchdowns and 0.71 rushing touchdowns. From there, we wanted to know how many yards they get for that many touchdowns. So what I did is I looked at the yards per touchdown for the passing game, and Patrick Mahomes gets 113 yards per passing touchdown. So you multiply 113 by 2.29, and you get a rough passing yardage outline, right? Unfortunately, yards per touchdown isn't a constant stat, though. It's more of an efficiency one. So you're looking for a regression. So what I did was create a regression model for passing touchdowns, which the formula's in here for it. And it takes his average yards per touchdown, which is this one, multiplies it by his average one by last week's yards per touchdown, and it creates what his yards per touchdown should be the following week. Right now, essentially, if it's too high, it brings it down. If it's too low, it brings it up, right, compared to his average. So using that simple Vegas prediction of 3 touchdowns, it's created a 317 passing yards projection with 2.3 passing touchdowns, right? I've got the PPR projection formula already in here for my previous model. It's a fairly easy thing. Now, from there, that's where I'm starting to run into trouble, because to get to 317 yards, Patrick Mahomes has to throw about 41 times on average. So that's about how often he throws, and just based on yards per attempt to get to 300 passing yards. From that, I've created an air yards projection, which is where I started to notice that Patrick Mahomes' yards per attempt and air yards per attempt is a little off this season, or a little unexpected for me at least, because it's saying he's going to throw for 313 yards, but pass for 317 yards, which means a little bit of extra yards per pass attempt, which again is backed up by his stats this season, but I'm not sure I expected it. Pretty much everyone else, they pass for more air yards than they throw for, which makes a lot more sense. So from there, I want to backfill targets. I actually have the same process working for receiving touchdowns in that over here. Where is it? Player touchdown. So yeah, the percentage of rushing, passing, receiving touchdowns that that player has gotten for that team this year. So if we just simplify this and just look at the one team. Let's just do KC since I've already started talking about him. So Clyde Edwards-Helaire is getting about 25% of the rushing touchdowns for Kansas City this year, which is virtually none. Patrick Mahomes is getting most of them. Tyreek Hill is actually getting as many rushing touchdowns for the team as Clyde Edwards-Helaire. So if the team, according to Vegas, and the average split of passing to rushing touchdowns is getting 3 touchdowns. What you can do just simply with those stats is multiply how often they get a touchdown by how many touchdowns they're meant to get, and you get a touchdown projection. So Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce, and everyone gets a receiving and rushing touchdown projection. Then using, again, the same system we use for quarterbacks, yards per touchdown, which is a fairly good regression stat, so we can work on it. It looks at how many yards they're getting per touchdown, looks at last week, applies a rushing or a receiving model of efficiency to it. So we're trying to predict that up and down flow of weekly regression. And then says, if this is how many touchdowns they're going to get, this is how many receiving yards, and this is how many rushing yards they need to get on average this season to get that many touchdowns. And so essentially, I'm creating almost everything I need to create projections, except for the fact that we want to know targets. And again, I'm starting to think instead of doing these regression models on efficiency for all 3 positions, instead I'll just focus on quarterback, and then I'm going to project the other skill position players from that passing yards projection. So right now, like I say, I'm still in the building block phase of it. And there's a lot more to account for, a lot of other clauses. Like, again, if a player doesn't have stats from this season yet, or has a very small sample size, it's going to have to rely on either a regression model, as Connor suggested, to try and project what they would do in a situation, or it's going to have to rely on a simple career year or positional average to create stats for them to put them through this process. But I haven't decided which way to go on it. I'm actually just stuck on air yards right now, trying to decide if this is a fair way of projecting air yards, because then you can use air yards to project player opportunity in order to create targets, which creates receptions, which creates the other part of a projection, right? Unfortunately, so far, the main problem I've got and why I'm stuck on this air yards thing and kind of still stuck at this stage, because as you can see, Kyler Murray is projected for 36.3 PPR points this season, and it's because Vegas is projecting him for 2 touchdowns, which says to get there based on his average, you have to throw for 333 passing yards. And because of the amount of rushing work that he's been taking, it also gives him 1 rushing touchdown, 1.3 rushing touchdowns, and 74 rushing yards. So obviously, I need some sort of modifier other than these regression models, because they're not adjusting it down reasonably enough. It might be based on matchup. I don't know. To try and ultra adjust these regression models, or to create a better regression model will probably be the better way of doing it than the quick ones I created just to get it working. So if I can improve these regression models to get the efficiency more in line with a week-to-week score, because I was using, a hastily created model, just using multiple linear regression. Travis May suggested that I use standard deviation analysis to try and adjust it down, up and down, to get it closer to reasonable. But I mean, the thoughts there, the theories there, it adds up, and all the projections would make sense, and it would account for throwaways. It would account for, based on average, what they've done in the sample size that I'm using. It would all make logical sense. I guess I have to improve those regression models a little bit, because it's going to need them to create passing yards total, which is going to, like I say, basically backfill everything else. But that's my new model idea. And it took me like, I don't know, 3-4 hours to create it this far. Like I said, that's a fairly quick tour in order to create an entire 3 different models to work in one model. I haven't taken the time with it yet, but I just kind of wanted to sketch out the basic idea, which is roughly this. So I might go ahead and create stats based on these projections, and then go back and try and improve these regression models so it creates more effective. And I did by position. So, the rushing total of running backs versus the rushing projection regression model for quarterbacks is different. It doesn't treat them as the same, because obviously they're rushing in different circumstances for the majority of times. Now, ideally, you'd be able to create a regression model per player, but yeah, it's never going to happen. No one plays enough. So yeah, I think it's interesting. What we can do right now is improve. Yeah, I can see if Matt Spencer's sheets. No, they won't be out yet. I need new Vegas totals to keep playing with it. Because last week, obviously, because of everything that was going on, that's why 45 is so common in here. It's just my middle of the road projection when Vegas isn't actually projecting anyone when I go and look. So yeah, I'm going to have to improve that. And then work on those regression models, I guess. I don't know how I would or how I will improve them. I think I need some other stats to help that regression model out. Because right now it's just got the average yards per touchdown and last week's yards per touchdown to work with. And the R squared from week to week was different for each model, but it's around 30%. And kind of like to boost that in terms of accuracy. And that if I can boost the accuracy, that'll probably help some of that over projection for a weekly stat. Because that's where the shittiness is coming from, or the not working-ness. So yeah, that's where I'm at with that. I'm down to just one viewer. I'm assuming it's you, Connor, because I know John left straight away, and C-Plant looks like he's left as well. Sorry if the internet got a little too choppy there. Sometimes it does. When I'm uploading all of that stuff. But yeah, thanks for checking it out. Thanks for coming along. I'm actually willing to stay on Monday grounds as long as possible, but where I've had a few people coming in, most people leaving, not a lot of questions. Me talking off the top of my head is not a great thing, right? So I'm going to get out of here. Thanks for checking it out. If you didn't, you can't hear me, so I can't really tell you anything. But I really appreciate the conversation while I was working on that stuff, guys. It's a lot more fun to live stream this and just do it by myself. So I appreciate it, guys. And I will talk to you next Monday, if no other time. I keep trying to find extra time in the week to do more streams and stuff. So far, I've been unsuccessful. Where the amount of extra effort projections are taking this year is draining my weekly content time. But Excel's crashed. Good for us. We got Excel to crash. That's a good stream. All right, I'm getting out of here. Thanks very much, and I'll talk to you again next time.